What government job matches your experience? That's what we're going to do here today. We're going to break down some job series to find out which ones you should be applying for. You will be able to search and apply for all these jobs on USAJobs.gov. So make sure you have an account set up, and then you need to create your job filter. All right, so the first one covers anything revolving around administrative work. So this means filing information, scheduling appointments, writing and answering emails, and reviewing documents. There's a high probability that you have administrative experience. It doesn't really matter where it came from. It could have come from one of these companies out here, one of these corporations, maybe it's from the military, or a state government, or a local county job. Wherever you attained your administrative experience, that will make you qualified for the 0300 job series. And the perfect match for this would be the 0301, which is miscellaneous administration and program. The good news is that there's over 1,000 of these type of jobs. Every federal agency needs them. They need them in order to operate their agency. So even in an agency like Department of Justice, Department of State, where you're thinking Department of State, you're thinking special agent, and that's true. But at the bottom, at the foundational level, you're going to need admin specialists, admin professionals. So there's a lot more opportunities for this. Also, you might see increased competition for this, especially because 0301, that job series, a lot of those can be done remotely. They can be done at your house or wherever. And because of that, a lot of people want the remote opportunity, so they're going to compete for them. Also, there's the 0303 job series, which is miscellaneous clerk and assistant. These job positions are a little bit lower in GS grade than the 0301. But still, if you have limited experience, this could be a good place to start out. Then we have the 0341 job series, which is administrative officer. These job positions tend to be a little bit higher on the GS grade, so if you have the experience, you want to apply for these. And a lot of it could be involving analyzing. You could analyze or advising, those type of activities. So which GS grade are you going to apply to? How do you even know? The best way to know is to talk to somebody who's already in the government. Talk to somebody who has the job series that you're interested in. So maybe you thought you had to come in as a GS7 or a GS9. But then you talk to somebody and they're like, hey, you have 10 years of experience. You actually have more experience than me. And you should really be coming in at a GS12. So having that conversation, 1, 2, 3 conversations with different people to identify the appropriate grade you should be targeting, that's going to end up saving you a lot of money. Or you're going to end up missing out on money if you don't do it. Another way to do this, if you don't want to talk to anybody, look at your current salary. Let's say you're making $90,000 a year. Take your current salary, pull up a GS pay scale, and look at what GS grade would you need to be to keep your salary the same or to slightly increase your salary. And then start targeting those positions. There's really no good in targeting positions that result in drastic pay cuts. So if you're going to be missing out on 20% or 30% of your salary, I don't think you should be applying to that GS grade. Okay, so let's move on from administration. Let's say you want to work in security. Maybe you have a security background. Maybe you were in the military and you feel comfortable doing security. There are security guards. There are security specialists, physical security specialists in the federal government. Now, you don't have to be prior military or even prior law enforcement, but that could help. You could be a security guard. Maybe you were a mall security guard, or maybe you provided security for a private company, maybe even a bouncer, security at a nightclub. This is all security experience that could make you eligible and qualified for some job series. If this applies to you, there are 3 job series I want you to pay attention to. The first one is 0080. This is for security administration. There's about 150 jobs. Then we have 0085. This is for security guards. There's about 74 jobs right now. Then we have 0086. This is security clerical assistant, and there's 58 jobs. So if you're interested, make sure you have these positions highlighted in your job filter, and then there's about 250 total. I mean, you can start applying for these today. When you are creating and saving these searches in the job filter, when you're doing that, keep in mind you can have more than one. You can have one saved for the 0300 series, and then another one saved for the 0500 series. Or you can just combine them all into one if that's better for you. Just combine them. But with each job series, keep in mind, you probably should be applying to those job series with its own resume. Okay, so moving away from security, the next one is program management. And there's a lot of people interested in this, especially when it comes to the military, the non-commissioned officers, the commissioned officers. They want to get into program management. Even people in the private sector, they want to get into this job series. In the private sector, what reigns supreme in this realm is the PMP. Everyone knows the PMP certificate is valuable in the private sector. Now in the government, in the public sector, in the federal government, there's an equivalent to that, and it's not the PMP. So you do not have to get hung up on the PMP as much. Now, you could run across job announcements that mention it as a preferred qualification, but for the most part, they do not mention it. Also, a college degree is not required for the majority of these positions. Okay, so let's say you have a lot of experience. You have 10, 15, 20, whatever. You have multiple years of experience. You want to come in at a senior level. It's interesting to note that in the 0340 job series, you'll find a lot of GS14s and GS15s. And this could be either a branch chief or a director, assistant director, deputy director. These type of titles can come along with the 0340 job series. All right, let's take a step back from program management and say, what if you have finance experience? You were an accountant or you worked at a retail bank. So banking, finance, auditing, accounting, all of that, 0500, that's your job series. Now, I personally know of one guy who worked at a retail bank, I think 5 or 6 years. He left the bank. He came into the Department of Veteran Affairs starting at a GS12. No government experience, no prior public sector. He was not a military vet, none of that. He simply had retail banking experience. So do not think that just because you don't have government experience, you're not eligible for this. You can still be eligible. In fact, it could have been volunteer experience. You could have volunteered, let's say you work at the PTA, the Parent Teacher Association for the local school, and you were looking at their budget. You were analyzing their budget. You were the treasurer for the PTA. That experience is still going to count. Overall, there are about 800, 900 jobs in the 0500 job series. The most popular one is the 0501, which is financial administration, with over 300 jobs. Next is if you're interested in the medical field, any and everything in the medical field, from a nurse to a doctor to a surgeon, whatever it is, if it's medical related, the 0600 job series, that's going to be the one you need to focus on. And the most popular job in this series is the 0602, which is a medical officer, with over 1,400 jobs on USAJobs.gov. And some of these, like nursing, if you are a nurse, you want to compete for these positions, you will find that a lot of the job announcements, they're under urgent hire, which means they're direct hire positions. You know, there's been a lot of burnout, a lot of attrition when it comes to these medical professionals, especially in the last 2 or 3 years with the pandemic. A lot of them have been leaving, they've been quitting, either going into the private sector or just completely doing something different with their lives because they're tired of it. All right, so next is engineering. Engineering, any and all type of engineering, you're looking at the 0800s job series. This is another urgent hire. This job series, it covers multiple type of professions. So you're a civil engineer, you're an electric engineer, whatever type of engineer you are, you might find something here that matches your experience. Now with the engineering, a lot of these positions, they want you to have the accredited engineering degree, and they want you to have the PE, the professional engineering license from your state. So that's a whole nother process in itself. But if you do qualify, there's over 1,000 government jobs focused on engineering today. Next is for all those people that have business or management type degrees. Your job series is 1102. That's business and contracting, acquisition. That's what job series it falls under. Overall, this is a love it or hate it type situation. A lot of people, they enjoy 1102 job series. They say it's quick to move up. You can travel all over the world. At the same time, other people complain about the workload. It's easy to get stressed out. So it's pretty much a mixed reaction. Okay, so let's say you're a teacher. Maybe you're an instructor. Maybe you've designed curriculum. 1700 is your job series. That's where you need to look at. That's where you need to focus at. That's where you should be applying. And there's a lot of positions out there. There's a lot of overseas positions that you can apply to also. And most people do not give themselves credit. So if you were at your last company and you were a trainer or you instructed, right? Maybe you built a PowerPoint slide and you taught maybe 50, 100 people. That counts as training. When you're designing the PowerPoint, that counts somewhat as curriculum design. There's a certain aspect and component that goes into that. So don't discount your experience. And then we have 2210, which is IT specialist. Any and everything that revolves around information technology, you're gonna find it in the 2210 job series. This is another popular one. Another hot job series the government wants more of. And you don't always need to have a computer science degree. You need relevant experience. Oftentimes they'll ask for semester hours concentrated in some computer science courses. but it's not a hard requirement for most of these positions. There's also a lot of talk of pay increases for people in the 2210 series, additional percent increases to their overall salary. Now, if you're ready to start applying to these federal government jobs, you might want to know first, what's the best federal agency and what's the worst one so you can stay away from it. If that interests you, I want you to watch this video next. If you would like to see more videos like this, please click like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.